Hey folks, it's Earl. Today I want to talk about something that's not easy for me to talk about, and that's my relationship. Some of you have asked for a video about that, and even asked for my partner to be on a video with me, and I'd love her to. She's shy, and she's a therapist, and she has really strong boundaries, and I'm not sure if that'll ever happen, but sometime when she's in a really good mood, I'll ask her. But last night in therapy, we got into some difficult territory, and so I wanted to share that with you. Towards the end of the therapy session, I brought up, my therapist was asking how it feels to be seen as a straight couple. We don't think of ourselves as a straight couple. I'm not quite sure how to categorize what we are, maybe queer. But anyway, that does happen, and I know that we're seen that way. Well, I assume that because I'm called sir, and we're together, and I can tell from the interaction it's different than it was before when we were seen as two women. So towards the end of the session, I brought up a moment when we were on the plane on the way back to Albuquerque from Pittsburgh. We had been to Kimmy's sister's wedding, and there was a woman sitting next to the window. Kimmy was in the middle, and I was on the aisle, and Kimmy got up to go to the restroom, and I think the woman was concerned about space, and she leaned over and said, "Your wife didn't leave, did she?" And I said, "No, she just went to the restroom." And then I sat there and kind of took that in. It was the first time that Kimmy had been referred to as my wife. We don't have wedding rings, and so the woman was assuming a lot. And I had mixed feelings about that. Part of me was glad that we were seen that way, but this is the thing that was unexpected. The biggest emotion I had was sadness, and I talked about that in therapy, and I got choked up and started crying, because when the woman saw us as a straight married couple, what she didn't see is something that I'm only beginning to grieve now, I think, now that I'm sober. And that is this huge chunk of me that is Sam. And I don't know if this will make sense to you guys, but I told my therapist, sometimes when I close my eyes, I feel like Sam. And when I open my eyes, I'm Earl. And when I look in the mirror, I feel like Earl. I feel like both Sam and Earl. And I carry her with me. And she's a big part of me. And then again, when I looked at the last video I posted, Tiny Head Blues, the sequel, I looked at that image of me a year and a half ago, and it didn't seem like me. Or I guess in some way it seemed like who I used to be. But the image of me now is who I've always felt myself to be. that looks like who I was always supposed to be. And so this is a complicated, layered feeling. After I shared what I shared, Kimmy got emotional and started crying, which was really hard for me to watch, for me to witness and hold space for. I wanted her to. I've been wanting her to. But the sadness was so profound. She said that a few days ago in the morning, I had just woken up. Sorry. And she said that for the first time in a long time, she looked at me and saw Sam. She saw a part of Sam. And then she had to leave and go to work. And I wonder what that was. And I have mixed feelings about that. There's a part of me that just wants to be Earl, and for her to just love Earl. And the way Earl looks, I know that I don't look the same. I realize I'm grieving too in some way that I'm not crystal clear on. It's pretty muddy actually right now. So I'm working through it. I would never change anything. I would never go back. And Kimmy has said, she said last night, she would never want me to go back. She would never want the person she loves not to be happy. And she sees that I'm so happy for the first time. And so that's solid, that's a thing. But there are all these other feelings too that we have to move through and grieve and acknowledge. And when I cried and talked about that complicated feeling, and when she cried and talked about that feeling, I felt connected to her in a way I haven't in a long time. And she said she felt connected to me, and it made us more intimate. And maybe it's a way for her to connect to Sam and Earl. I don't know, is this weird? So, relationships after transition are not easy for either one of us, but especially my partner. I know that. And I know that she's given up a lot to support my happiness. And sometimes I just wish more than anything that she didn't have to do that. But I'm so grateful to have someone that is willing to work through this and work through the sadness. And I don't feel insecure about our relationship. It just feels pretty heavy right now. But I'm really glad that I'm sober. I guess it took this long for us to get to a place that I was emotionally ready, and she was, to work through it. And I think that it took me being present, and I had to kind of open the door for her. And so we have therapy again in the next couple of weeks, and we arranged to talk about, we arranged to have a family meeting once a week and check in with each other, and Sunday mornings are going to be just for us and a place to connect. So I'm looking forward to doing that. And so things are okay. Things are just not always easy. Okay. okay. I love you guys, and I'll see you soon. Bye.